When they see me walking down the street, hey, hey, hey. They think twice and then they speak. Hey, hey, hey. And the best
everybody. Welcome to the Lieutenant Governor Primary Candidate Forum. I am Amy Beth Shaver with Right Side Radio, but we are here because Stephanie Holden Smith with Alabama Policy Institute, but Alabama Policy Action, and Right Side Radio have partnered tonight to bring this forum to you. It is a forum for you to hear from each of our candidates. We are asking questions. We want to hear from them. This is not gotcha. This is who are they and why you should consider voting for them. That's it. So we're so glad that you are here. And before we get started, I would love to welcome to the stage pastor from Maplesville Baptist Church, Ty Coffey. And then following Ty's prayer, I would like to welcome to the stage Kelly Mooney, who is one of the members of our State Board of Education. Ty.
Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for the days you've given us, Lord. We thank you for the grace and mercy that you've shown to us by sending your Son, the Lord Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for our sins. Father, I thank you that we get to live in a country where we can have open conversation and dialogue without any type of fear of retribution, Lord. We just ask that you would be with each candidate tonight, that you would calm their nerves, Lord, that you would cause them to speak honestly and openly with the people about why they seek this position. We ask that you be glorified tonight. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Good evening. Please stand as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Hand over hearts. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Imagine that there's a place that has conversations you care about. Imagine that there's a place, a show really, that talks about the issues. We deep dive, but we also have segments like Hot Flash News. That's really funny. Or we have segments like The Plunge, where we talk about the World Economic Forum and we cover Alabama issues, because isn't that why we're here? We care about our community. We care about our state. And at Right Side Radio, we care about you because you're the people who are going to make a change in our community. You're the reason why Alabama remains red and why people like Laura Ingraham watch in awe every election day, especially when Trump's involved, where we know he's going to win the state, and yet you wrap around a building to cast your vote. That's what this is all about. And at Right Side, we are about telling the truth, education, information, but also having some fun. We're on every day from 2 to 5 on WVNN, but we're also live if you want to listen at rightsidemedia.org. Click the Listen Live button, and we would love to have you join us. We're growing. We're excited about that. But more than that, we would love to have you involved with Right Side. And who is Right Side? Well, I'm Amy Beth Shaver with Allison Sinclair, who started Local Alabama. Y'all know Allison. She's been involved for a very long time. And then we're joined by one of the OGs of Right Side Media when Phil Williams had it before we acquired it, Justin Platt, who's with us tonight and who is producing the show for us here. So Right Side Radio every day from 2 to 5 on WVNN or rightsidemedia.org. And we will look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Allison.
I think I'm just going to stay seated here to welcome once again all of our candidates here. It's actually very humbling. Stephanie and I did this a few years ago with a gubernatorial race. We had Republicans and Democrats on the stage. It was quite interesting. I thank you all for being here. And just want to reiterate what Amy Beth was saying, that tonight is truly about getting information to the voters. We have a whole bunch of people watching at home on the live stream. So we set a few ground rules and a few things in the process of tonight to try and keep things moving, to keep the information coming. I just want to kind of read through what we sent to the candidates, and so we can all get on the same page. Mainly, let's treat each other respectfully, whether we're in the audience or we're on stage. Everybody might have a different opinion, and that's what makes America great. We want to hear, we want to see what all of these candidates will do when they make it to office. Let's focus on the issues and not the individuals. Speak for yourself, not other people. And we're really aiming to have equal time for everyone on stage. So the way everyone was chosen, we drew out of a hat. If you were the first person drawn, Rick Pate, and then we went on down, and the questions will rotate. We'll have 3 minutes of opening statements, starting with Rick, and we will go down the line. And then we have 3 basic categories of questions. And every candidate will get a different question, but kind of on the same topic for each round. And what we hope will happen is we will keep everything flowing. If someone is mentioned, you will have 2 minutes. After the opening statement, you will have 2 minutes to answer each question. If your name is mentioned by name personally from another candidate, you will have a 1 minute rebuttal. But if things get out of hand, we might shut that down. So let's just try and stick to the plan, stick to the topic, and keep things moving along. At the end, we'll have a lightning round. We did this the last forum, and it's lighthearted. It's fun questions. They might be kind of shocking. We have a whiteboard. Everybody will write their answer down, turn it around. It's just a fun way to end, to really get to know a different side of your candidates. And then we'll have 2 minutes for closing statements. We have timekeepers on the front row. They will give you green when it's time to go. Yellow will be a 30-second, and then at red, please stop. And I just want to ask the audience, I know everybody is very passionate about their candidates. Let's keep clapping any response for the very end, in which we will clap for everyone. So moving right along, we are now going to start with our 3-minute opening statements. You will get to know each candidate as they tell you about themselves. But Rick Pate, we will start with you and go on down the line.
All right, and there's the person with the card right there. So what comes after green?
Yellow.
Yellow, it means you got 30 seconds to wrap it up. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, I am Rick Pate. I'm from rural Lowndes Academy. I grew up there. I still live there. I have served, if you're not aware, as your ag commissioner for the last 7 years. It's been just really a blessing. I feel like at a point in my life to really be able to serve people. The Department of Ag touches so many people's lives. There's so many new programs we started, and hopefully, I know we're in Birmingham, but you've heard of Sweet Grown Alabama, where in 2019, we really went out and created a database where you'd not be able to find local products. That's turned out to be so important during COVID. In 2020, we got the legislature to fund what we call Farm to School. If we didn't have Sweet Grown, we wouldn't have been able to have done that, because we went to the school system and actually reimbursed the child nutritionists a quarter every time they fed one Alabama child, one Alabama grown product. And so tremendous success. That program grown to over 600,000. I've loved serving and feel like I've still got a lot to give. I looked at what to do next, whether not to do anything. I'm certainly not one of those people that needed something else to do. I had been in business for 37 years. I did the math one time. In those 37 years, I think I maxed out at about 50, 55 employees. But say I averaged 30 employees, that's over the front of 57,000 paychecks that I signed over my career. And I think being in business and having to make a payroll changes you. I do think I'm the most qualified. I feel like we say we want you to vote for us, but we really want what I feel like I want you to hire us. Who do you feel like would be most qualified to step into that role? I've seen the burden from being in business so long. Own business, I realize that the government is not the answer to hardly anything. business is what funds the activities in the state. And that's what I want to do, is unleash business where it can flourish in this state and pull the regulations back. I do feel like I've been mayor. I was mayor 14 years. I'm prepared for this opportunity. And my ag background serves me well too. I've sort of been the commissioner of rural Alabama, not just of agriculture. So anyway, I appreciate your support.
Thank you. Nicole?
Good evening. I'm Nicole Jones Wadsworth, and I am a proud member of the private sector. I have a background in business, contracts, and economic development. And in my role as a site selector and a commercial real estate developer, over the past 20 years, I've been able to visit all 67 counties over 25 times on my own dime, not the taxpayer's dime, before asking for your vote. And it's through meeting with my clients in urban and rural markets and meeting with their families that the same 5 key issues have kept creeping up. So that's what I'm calling my plan as Lieutenant Governor. I'm calling it Build a Better Alabama. I want to utilize the office of Lieutenant Governor to improve the quality of life for Alabamians in 5 key areas: industry recruitment and retention, workforce development, statewide infrastructure improvements, rural health care, and public safety. Your industry recruitment and retention and your workforce development, those issues go hand in hand. As Lieutenant Governor, I want to ensure that every Alabamian, from the high school student to the veteran, has a clear path to a good paying job. Why? Because if people are working, we all benefit. It keeps folks off welfare, it reduces recidivism, and it gives a man or a woman a sense of purpose by being able to pay for something with a paycheck that he or she has earned. To keep Alabama at a strong business climate and to improve quality of life, we also have to make smart, long-term investments in our infrastructure. That's our roads, our bridges, our ports, and our broadband. Our broadband is also critical to our rural healthcare systems and our telehealth. I represent a client who's able to utilize an app called Talkspace, where she's a mental health crisis counselor, and she's been able to keep people from committing suicide because they're in rural areas and they can access the internet. The final group of people I want to help as Lieutenant Governor is our public safety officials. And I want you all to think about something. At some point over the course of your life, you're going to need access to a police officer, a firefighter, a sheriff, the military, either directly or indirectly, or EMS. As Lieutenant Governor, I want to ensure that the men and the women willing to put themselves forth will have access to the training, the tools, and the resources needed to protect and serve with company, on a border committee, or as an individual. The role of Lieutenant Governor was stripped of a lot of its formal power in the late 90s. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little bit later. But you need a Lieutenant Governor who's focused on policy-oriented solutions. That's why I'm here tonight, to ask for your vote and to build a better Alabama. Vote Nicole on May 19th. Thank you.
Thank you. Wes?
Yep. Thank you. So good to be with you. Appreciate y'all putting on this forum. Thank you very much. My name is Wes Allen, and I am a proud, rugged individualist, as were our founders. I'm your current Secretary of State, and I'm so honored to serve in that role. Over the next hour or so, a little more than an hour, you're probably going to hear a lot of answers, a lot of talking from each of us about our vision for where we see the Lieutenant Governor's role and how we can best fit into that and best serve as Lieutenant Governor. But as you listen, I think there's one thing that's going to make itself very, very clear as we make our way around the tables here. And that is who is most qualified to step into that role because of their conservative record. And that's what I'll be talking about tonight, because I have stood strong to protect our Christian conservative culture and values here in the state of Alabama. I've actually took on liberals and won. And so you're going to ride home tonight at some point, and you're going to be thinking about what transpired, and you're going to be thinking back over what you heard. You're going to be thinking about the answers that you heard and the candidates that are on this stage. And you're just not a voter at a forum tonight riding home. You're actually going to be hiring one of us. And I think by the end of tonight, one thing is going to be very clear. You're going to be hiring Wes Allen to be the next Republican lieutenant governor. Thank you.
Thank you. Patrick?
Good evening. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for putting this on. My name is Major Retired Patrick L. Bishop. I believe in God. I believe in my family. I believe in this country. This flag that we just pledged allegiance to, everything it alludes to, the spirit of it. My Bible tells me that my God, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, was born. He was crucified. On the third day, he arose. He's coming back again. I've heard voters say, Pat, we're troubled. We don't know who to believe. By me being a minister, I tell them, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me, for in my Father's house are many mansions. And we understand that. We don't know when he's coming back. But until he does, we all have to live here. We have to coexist. But in existing, we have to have sound, common sense Christian leadership. I'm a law enforcement officer. I currently work for the Cullman County Sheriff's Department. I served 26 years in our military in special operations. People always ask, well, what happened? How did you get here to the Republican Party? And the answer is simple. Most of you know what happened in an area called Somalia, Mogadishu, in 1993. I volunteered to deploy with Task Force Ranger. Then, under Democratic rule here in the United States, the people that sent us there told us our request would be denied for additional Rangers and up-armored vehicles. I think you all knew what happened after that. We lost 18 American lives. As soon as my feet touched American soil in 1993, I joined the Republican Party. And I swore I would never again let one drop of American blood be shed unnecessarily. Give military members and first responders what they need because we pledge allegiance to this flag. You hear so many politicians say the words, I'm going to reach across the aisle. Pat Bishop, he's not going to reach across the aisle. He's going to get up. He's going to walk across the aisle. And as a mediator, he's going to find common ground based on Christian common sense principles. It's been said, you all, the voters, or we the people, this hiring decision is in your hands. It's all about affordability, education, and taking care of our veterans. Hire Pat Bishop on May the 19th and November the 3rd. I am your next lieutenant governor. It's common sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Dean?
Well, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I had the privilege of being in that gubernatorial debate 4 years ago, sitting in almost the exact same seat. I am a pastor. I was just sharing earlier with some folks how I left Troy State, which is now Troy University, in 1987 because I was living in sin and drugs and alcohol and all those things. God got a hold of me and got me to turn my life around, stop all that stuff, give my life to Jesus. And shortly thereafter, he called me to be a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I have been preaching since then. That was when I was 19 years old. I just turned 58. I have been in the Middle East. I've been on the little island of Mauritius. I've been to Africa, Nigeria. I've preached all over the United States. I'm a researcher. I'm a student. I'm an author of 4 books. As many of you know, last time I ran for governor of Alabama, not really because I wanted to, When I saw what I thought to be a conservative, and let me just say right now, there's a lot of so-called conservatives, claim to be conservatives, and they do a few conservative things, but they're not really full-blown, true Republican, true conservative politicians and Christians for that matter. And when I saw that out of Kay Ivey, our governor at the time, still governor, seems like it'll never end. It's true. But when I saw her shut down businesses and churches and schools during the COVID-19, even though we had a treatment, that was a clear violation of the First Amendment. When churches were ordered how they were going to have their services or to shut down, I refused. And I realized that too many of us were asleep. We were allowing somebody just because they had an R beside their name to violate our First Amendment. Of course, then I learned about, from President Trump, the hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin treatments, saved my life, saved many people's lives. But I saw our state government, all led by Republicans who claim to be Christian, claim to be conservative, do nothing while over 20,000 Alabamians died. And to me, that was not acceptable behavior on behalf of politicians. And it's not always what a politician does, the window dressing, the polishing the brass on a sinking ship. It's what they don't do. We do not have secure elections. We do not have our education system fixed. We do not have our economy here fixed. And there's some simple plans. And I'm really the only one who for the last 4 years have put forth plans to truly deal with the election security issue by getting rid of the machines and going to paper ballots and hand counting only. That's the only way to secure our elections. And also, to deal with the problem of our economy, we've got 800 trillion cubic feet of natural gas that we're not drilling for. There are solutions, and I'm not just about preaching the gospel as a pastor. I am about fixing the problems of Alabama when these career politicians haven't fixed them and some of them have had decades to try to do it.
Thank you, Dean. Okay. Thank you to each of our candidates for being here. We're going to move now from introductory statements to questions. And what we've done is drew from a hat the order that the candidates are sitting. I'm going to start by asking a question, and then Allison and Amy Beth will follow me by asking the next and the next question, and we'll just keep going round and round. So there really won't be an opportunity for every candidate to answer every question. But we figured out after hosting this the last time that what ended up happening is if you ask the exact same question, then the person who is first has to immediately come up with an answer, and the person who's last gets to listen to the other candidates and has a genius answer by the end. So we're trying to make this as fair as possible. And that's our whole goal, as Allison said. So the first question, this is a Stephanie disclaimer and my thought process. To me, as we look forward to this primary, I believe that it's essential that the next lieutenant governor is not just a figurehead, but a principled person that is a champion for conservative values. And so the questions that we've come up with are designed to move past sound bites or accusations and test each candidate's commitment to conservative principles, because we believe that those principles are what will keep Alabama free and prosperous. So Rick has the first question, and I will ask the first question. So Rick, the gavel of the state Senate should be used to protect taxpayers, not special interests. How would you use your presiding authority to ensure free market legislation is prioritized over bills that expand state government?
Well, I don't think you even have to just take my word on that. I mean, I have been an activist for the last 7 years. We probably have as much regulatory responsibility as any state agency, whether it's weights and measures or pesticides or food safety and on and on. But, when I got there within a few months, they were publishing a bulletin that was costing the states, I can't remember the exact amount, $70,000. It had been published forever. It was loved by the people that got it. yeah, so we tried to revamp it. I gave that about 2 months, and I just shut it down. And I mean, another thing, I got there and there had been a loan program called the Alabama Agricultural Development Authority. It was losing right at $100,000 a year. It started out in the 80s. I think they had sold some bonds for $30 million. When I got there, there was 1.1 million left in it. I said, we're stopping at 1.1 and shut that thing down without making any more bad loans or rich people loans. But I think being from a business background, you know, like I said earlier, nobody realizes the burden and the impediment to businesses being successful that a business person does. And you just say, I mean, yeah, I'm going to do everything I can to free up businesses. I mean, I assume we're going to have some question about taxes, and so I'm not going to delve too far into that right yet. But yeah, I think, okay. But yeah, I certainly think my whole record that's already out there shows that I've done the best for the citizens of the Alabama Department of Ag and running efficiently.
Thank you. Just a reminder, we'll have 2 minutes, or not me, y'all will have 2 minutes to answer each of these questions. Okay, Nicole, the Lieutenant Governor makes over 400 appointments to state boards and commissions. Will you commit to a litmus test for these appointees that requires a demonstrated commitment to limited government, fiscal restraint, and family values?
Absolutely. I think it's essential for the Lieutenant Governor to be involved in the appointment process. And that not only means my staff vetting potential appointees, but me being involved in the process as well. My goal, being in the private sector, being in business, I've had a lot of clients over the years want to get involved in having a say-so in government issues, but aren't really sure how to move forward in that process. So what I'm wanting to do with the office is create a database where if somebody's interested in being appointed to a certain position or potentially serving on a board or a committee or a focus group, that they can submit their resume to my office and we can start that process.
Wes, in the event that you must step into the governor's office, what specific emergency powers do you believe are currently overextended and should be permanently curtailed by the legislature?
God forbid that ever happen. But the person that is going to be serving as your next Republican Lieutenant Governor better be ready. And they better have a plan. They better understand that there are 24 cabinet positions in the governor's office. They better understand that there are over 31 or 2 or 3 or whatever the count is right now about employees inside the governor's office. They better understand the divisions inside the governor's office. They better understand what it takes to be governor and to lead this state, because it's about building a team and about putting a team together on the field that can win and that can execute. And with my time serving as a probate judge in Pike County for 9.5 years, and sitting across the desk from many people, helping them solve their issues inside Troy and Pike County and so forth. And my time serving in the legislature and all of those issues that we took up and the things that I advocated for. My time now in the executive branch, seeing inside the Secretary of State's office to protect and fortify our elections, and using all of that information, using all of that experience to make sure that we've got somebody inside the office of governor, God forbid, if called upon, but you've got to make sure that you're ready. You got to make sure that you have a plan. And as far as emergency powers, you've got to make sure that, number one, that they fit inside the Constitution of the United States and fit inside the Constitution of the state of Alabama, and they are being used constitutionally. But if we get in there, we would have to determine at the time that we walk into that office.
Okay, so now we're going to rotate back to Rick. Rick, what is the single most important piece of legislation that you would champion on day one to make Alabama the most competitive economy in the Southeast?
But you mean to skip?
Oh, I'm
Patrick
sorry.
and-
No, you're good. You can.
Patrick.
I mean, I'm afraid of that question or anything.
It's not you.
Oh, Rick was ready.
Correct me.
He's good. He's good.
Okay, Patrick, You heard the question, but I'll repeat it. It's my bad. What is the single most important piece of legislation you would champion on day one to make Alabama the most competitive free market economy in the Southeast?
Thank you for that question, ma'am. Alabama has the power to be the #1 state in this union that we call United States of America. I would champion several, and it's very hard to pick one, very hard. I believe manufacturing would be the best, and I'm going to tell you why. It doesn't take long because it's all based on common sense. My job is to put money back in your pocket, not take money out of it. If we have people employed due to manufacturing jobs, due to going to school to get an education for certificates and workforce development to put them to work. We have manufacturing jobs that are second chance programs from our individuals who have paid their debt to society and been released from prison. What are they doing? They're paying taxes. The more taxes they pay, the less taxes you pay. So our manufacturing jobs to bring people to the state of Alabama, to hire our veterans. This is the premier time to make Alabama better. And it's all based on common sense. It's all based on employment. This is how we can make Alabama better. It's a simple answer.
Thank you. Dean, many candidates talk about growth, but we believe state leadership should focus on liberty. Which state agency or program do you believe is the most redundant and would be your first target for elimination?
The most redundant. There's so many of them that are redundant and useless. I think we could really trim back the whole State Department of Education. I think that that's overbloated. I had a plan that I put forth when I was running for governor that we could do a full school voucher program. And by doing that, we paid about $12,000 per child now. That tax money does not belong to the state, it belongs to the people who paid those taxes and to their children. And the money should follow the child. And one of the areas, if we did that and we actually let the free market take over and not try to control that, we would see the free market and capitalism, true capitalism, take over and make the good schools better and the bad schools would not be rewarded and would morph into a better system. And then you could do away with the whole we just have bloated salaries of these state and county school boards that we don't need. Because if you put a board in a school of, say, parents and the administration and let them control what goes on in that school, the curriculum, how the finances are paid, how the teachers are paid, you let that be done at the local level, then we could cut out all of that money that just goes down the tubes in education. Because what we should have known over the years, we've thrown money at education, and yet we're still ranked toward the bottom. I know that there's some politicians now trying to say that we've moved up into the 30s, but no, we're still down into the 40s of the 50 states. So that's an area I would definitely cut back on and change and turn back to the free market, because I do believe in freedom of choice. And you can't say it's school choice if only a certain amount of people get to choose.
Rick,
Yes, ma'am.
gambling is a regressive tax that preys on the vulnerable and weakens the family unit. Do you believe the state of Alabama should be in the business of promoting a get-rich-quick culture through a state-run lottery?
And I would have said that if you hadn't about how regressive a tax it is. Yeah, poor people disproportionately buy, well, in particular, talk about lottery tickets. I saw some statistics the other day that people making under $30,000 might spend 13% or something of their income, and they probably don't have a lot of disposable income, whereas people making over 50 might spend 4 or 5%. And so it's certainly regressive. It's and it's a very volatile way to fund state government. And so if it's being sold as a way to fund state government and a way, it's certainly not going to help the least of us. Obviously, it doesn't create anything. Nothing out of nothing is nothing still, but I do see what's going on along our borders. There's no doubt that people from Alabama are going into other states and buying lottery tickets. I mean, a guy told me the other day that the number one selling lottery store in Tennessee was right across the state line from Huntsville. I had a grandfather and retired and lived in Calhoun County. Once a week, he'd get 4 or 5 of his friends and they'd drive over to Georgia and buy lottery tickets. I mean, obviously we don't need all that revenue going to Florida, Georgia, Tennessee. It's not creating anything new for us. And so I told Stephanie before, my response is sort of nuanced in that. But I actually grew up with a boy that dad was a dairy farmer. Dad knew he was going in the Publishers Clearinghouse. Of course, he died, never did, but that gave him so much hope. And so anyway, sometimes unrealistic. It's something about the human experience, I guess. If a person could go by 2 or 3 and believe they could win, I'd be all for it, but that's not what generally happens.
Okay. All right, Nicole. Proponents of gambling often promise revenue for education. Given the record surpluses in the Education Trust Fund, for those of y'all who don't know, the Education Trust Fund has been in surplus since 2016. Can legalization of gambling be justified knowing the social costs on the other side?
That's a very difficult issue, and I can see it from both sides of the coin. I will say this, I am not a gambler. I don't like it. I've never gambled. Don't care to do that. But what I've also seen over the years is that you have an elite group of senators or special interests that are sitting in Montgomery and controlling Alabamians' right to choose on whether they want gambling or not. I think that that's wrong, and we should put it on the ballot and let Alabamians decide once and for all whether they want it. But I also believe that the state of Alabama should not promote gambling to fund education or to fund roads. You shouldn't ever promote a vice to subsidize some element of government.
Wes, how do you respond to people that say that legalizing gambling is an admission that the state government has failed to manage its existing record surplus?
I want us to all understand exactly the process we're talking about here about the expansion of gambling. It takes the state of Alabama to amend our Constitution, so therefore it goes to the people to vote. Everybody probably in this room understands that. I just want to make sure we all know what we're talking about here on the expansion of gambling, if that's the question. It goes to the legislature. The executive branch is cut out. It does not go to the governor or lieutenant governor. It goes to the legislature for the question of expanding gambling. 63 votes in the House, 21 votes in the Senate. It takes to put the bill, to put it before the state of Alabama, to put it before the people for a vote in a constitutional amendment to change Alabama's constitution on the question of expanding gambling. I've been on the campaign trail and I get this question about, well, where are you at on gambling? Well, I personally am not a fan. I'm not a gambler. I'm not a fan of gambling. And if it's put before a vote, I'm a no. But as Lieutenant Governor, we preside over the state Senate. We're the presiding officer. And anytime a bill comes to the floor, the people of this state, through their representative senator or House member, they get a chance to debate that. And so every bill that comes before the Alabama State Senate will get a fair hearing. But I'm a no if it's asked of me.
Patrick, what specific legislative steps will you take to ensure Alabama law enforcement has the resources to assist federal authorities in the immediate deportation of criminal illegal aliens?
What a mighty God we serve. I'm so glad you asked a law enforcement officer that question. Jesus, one I was waiting on. God is so good. Just to be sure this young man heard it correctly, ma'am. Could you please restate your question?
I shall. What specific legislative steps will you take to ensure Alabama law enforcement has the resources to assist federal authorities in the immediate deportation of criminal illegal aliens?
Thank you. This ain't gonna take that long for the science. You good. As a law enforcement officer over 26 years, the only thing a law enforcement officer wants, no matter if you're a patrol officer, a captain, a chief of police, or the head of the FBI, only thing you want is competent guidance. You want competent leadership and clear orders on exactly what the rules of engagement are. But the key word the young lady just said was illegal. Either you follow the law or you don't. Local law enforcement or law enforcement in general needs the support of the people. And they need to make sure that if something happens on Sunday, where they have to act, that on Monday morning, someone's not sitting in a chair talking about what a bad job they did when they're not the ones who are on the scene. Only thing they want is support. Let me change that. The only thing we want is support. As Lieutenant Governor for the state of Alabama, I will work very hard to make sure our law enforcement is taken care of. I want to hear from them as well as the citizens to make sure that everything happens to make sure we follow the law and our law enforcement are supported.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dean, how can we reform the Board of Pardons and Paroles so that we can ensure that public safety and the rights of victims are prioritized over the convenience or growth of the prison system?
Well, that right there comes down to really who you vet and who you put in charge. We had Governor Ivey put in charge, and I can't remember the name of the gentleman, but he'd never run a prison before in his life, and he was in charge of the prison system. To me, that doesn't make any sense. You have to find people who know what they're doing and who have done it and proven that they've done it well. I would say, too, we need to stay away from privatizing the prisons because then you get into incentivizing putting people in prison. Another thing that I would like to do, I'm not pro legalization of marijuana, but I am pro taking down some of the, I guess you'd say, the severe penalties. There's some people in prison that shouldn't be there just because over a marijuana charge per se, that they're taking up space. And as long as they haven't committed a violent crime, they need to be out. So there should be some principles there where we start taking the burden off the prison, but we've got to do a much better job at vetting everyone from the warden down. I mean, from the head of pardon and paroles down. These people have to be principled people, moral people, good people, that it's not just about the money. And the fact that, too, that, you know, and it's hard to find, but finding people that aren't corrupted by money and, you know, making deals with folks. And that's one of the great problems we have. You know, our founding fathers said that if Americans cease to be a moral people, the republic would fail. And that's really the biggest problem within the prison. If you have a corrupt warden, you have corrupt guards that make deals with the prisoners and things, that's why the system falls apart. So it's really about vetting, super vetting, and getting the best people we possibly can and staying away from the privatization of prisons.
Thank you. Rick, conservatives believe that the money should follow the student. And actually, the state of Alabama has no money besides what we give it. Will you truly fight for full funding of the CHOOSE Act and school choice?
Absolutely. As a product of the black belt and graduated from a private school, my wife graduated from private school, both of my sons graduated. Yeah, we pay property taxes that we never, or school taxes that we never were able to use. It just always seemed so unfair to me that the money should have always followed the student. I mean, if they're going to tax me or either let me out of that part of the tax. But yeah, I think what they're doing with Choose Act, I heard Senator Orr saying they're just trying to catch a second wind to make sure they're expecting more people at that 300% threshold to get in this year that maybe didn't take advantage of it last year, and just waiting to see what that looks like going forward. But I think their intent in the legislature, and it certainly be my intent to do everything I can to every child that wants to make a decision about where they go to, or every parent that wants to make a decision about where they go to school can do that, and that money will follow them.
Nicole, how will you ensure that Alabama's public schools return to a focus on academic excellence in the basics rather than the social engineering and DEI initiatives currently being pushed by federal bureaucrats?
We need to get back to the basics: reading, writing, and arithmetic. My two children who are now in college are sitting here in the room, and I started them at preschool at 2 years old, where they taught phonics, they taught 1 + 1 is 2, they learned how to write. Those are basic foundations for life. Kids have to learn how to read, and we have to empower our teachers in the school systems, but specifically in the public school systems, to be able to not only teach children these elements, but work with parents as well to make sure that our kids are learning and they're learning well, and that they're not just being promoted from grade to grade and passed along. Because what happens is, if we're not honest about a child's ability level, then they end up 18 years old, they don't know what they want to do, they don't have a job, and they end up on welfare. So I'll do whatever I can to promote basic education, and also, to take it a step further, promote career tech education and dual enrollment. So, the bureaucrats in Washington for many years didn't want kids to learn about skilled trades. And what happens now, we're reaping what we've sown, because we don't have enough plumbers, electricians, welders, beauticians. My husband and I did a small job, for example. It took us, for a construction project, 6 months to find a contractor willing to put up a couple of walls. This was basic work. So get back to the basics. Let's work together. Let's ensure our kids become productive adults.
Okay. Wes, would you support a, quote, regulatory sunset law that requires every state regulation that's promulgated to be reevaluated and reauthorized every 5 years or face automatic expiration?
Absolutely. And when I was in the Alabama legislature, my first year, I drew on my experience as a former probate judge when I stepped out of the courthouse and went to the State House. I took those same values that I served with in the Pike County Courthouse to the Alabama State House. And I saw when people would walk in to the courthouse and they were, just trying to take care of their business, but they were always fighting government. And so I introduced a piece of legislation that would require all of our state agencies to reevaluate their administrative rules. And if any agency proposed an administrative rule that had an economic impact on the state of Alabama of $1 million or more, it would require that administrative rule to be approved by resolution from the Alabama House of Representatives and also by the Alabama State Senate before it could be implemented. And the bill also went further, Stephanie, that all these agencies had to reevaluate every few years to make sure that those administrative rules were still needed in their particular agency. And I think it goes even deeper. If you look at my time, not only in the legislature when we advocated for those things, but my time as Secretary of State, where we have found by the time we step out of office, we will have cut over $2 million from our budget in wasteful spending that we have been able to identify in the Secretary of State's office. We have advocated for bills that have cut out regulations, that have cut out fees. And when fees are not coming into the Secretary's office because we are not funded through the general fund, when those fees are not coming into the office, what does that mean? It means we can't spend the money. And so I am proud of my record advocating to make sure we cut red tape and keep administrative rules at bay.
Patrick, how will you protect the integrity of women's sports and the privacy of female-only spaces such as locker rooms and restrooms from being compromised by gender ideology?
God is so good. Thank you, Miss St. Clair. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife and I have 5 children. We have 2 boys, one playing in college in South Carolina and one playing at the University of Alabama. Now, last time I said that, someone yelled, "Roll Tide." I said, "No, ma'am, you don't understand. He's not playing football. He's just playing." It's called tuition. He's playing with it. We also have 2 daughters. You know them well. The oldest one name is Alexa. The youngest one name is Siri. Probably how you got here tonight. 5th son, stepson. He's a dangerous guy. He makes up things as he goes. His name is AI. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. For whatever reason, this country has gone backwards. Common sense has disappeared. People ask the question, what keeps you up at night? What keeps me up is the fact that I believe that our country has lost the common sense that the good Lord gave them. A man is a man, a woman is a woman. My nieces, my wife, any woman, no woman should be forced to deal with a grown man, or any male for that matter, in a locker room. Title IX exists for that purpose. I will work day in and day out in military fashion. That means I will be focused. I will be your John Wick, if that answers the question. I will do everything I can to make sure those laws are followed and common sense will prevail. In the state of Alabama, we understand there's Adam and there's Eve. There's no such thing as a psychological male and a psychological female. You are what you are, and God made you. I hope that answers your question.
Dean, what legislative measures will you support to give parents more control over the data mining and algorithmic targeting used by big tech companies against Alabama's youth?
Well, I think that one's real simple. I think the legislation that was attempted to be passed last year trying to, just for instance, put blockers on pornography for children on their devices and making it state law. I think that's a very important issue right there. There's a lot of things, though, that, the state government and the federal government cannot legislate all the way down to the household. It has to be in the household. I am surprised, to tell you the truth. I'm shocked that both the federal government and the state government, with our resources, can't find some of these sites that are so terrible and put a block on them and stop them. Recently there was a hacker on Sean Ryan's show that talked about where he hacked into a pedophile site that had 7,000 names, and he took them to the FBI, and the FBI did nothing. And this is a big problem we have. We have a lot of people that, we try to stop a lot of this stuff. We try to report this stuff. We try to help save our kids from these things. But then we reach in, the government does not tend to help us. So what I plan to do as part of the Lieutenant Governor's office on my own dime, one of the things I've been discovering is I've been traveling the state now. When I was running for governor last time, 80,000 miles for 2 years. Now, this time running for lieutenant governor, when you run for office and people believe that you're honest and you're true and your heart's in the right place, they start telling you the nightmares. And for instance, I've been the nightmares, people have been coming telling me how DHR and the system has taken their children away, and they don't have a right to do that. And there's even some parents with court documents that say they did nothing wrong, and yet they can't get their kids back. Some of the kids in the Bibb County dungeon were in foster care. This is an area that we have got to tackle with everything that we have, and we've got to stop this and truly protect the children. So what I want to do in the office of the Lieutenant Governor's office, with the salary I make as Lieutenant Governor, take that money and begin to fund an Office of Justice to allow parents and Alabamians with complaints to come in, tell their stories, pay for lawyers, pay for counseling, not on the state's money. Start raising money to do that. Because what I found out the other day from the Attorney General's office is that they're the lawyer for DHR, so they're not, the parents can't turn there for help. So
I'm sorry to interrupt you. but
that's
your
one of
time's up.
those areas, though.
Okay, Rick, with state revenues at record highs, conservatives have advocated for permanent elimination of the state's portion of the grocery tax. Will you make this a non-negotiable priority in your first term? as Lieutenant Governor?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when we talk about regressive tax, what is more regressive than taxing groceries? One of the few states in the country to do it. We've gotten it from 4 to 2. I mean, I'll make that priority day one. And I know there's concerns about taking money from here or there, but we just got to be able to do that. That's just a principle of fairness that people, but I mean, we know that Florida doesn't have an income tax. Tennessee doesn't have an income tax. Mississippi's lower in theirs. I think Georgia's lower in theirs. I mean, we need to look at eliminating as much of the income tax as we can, as fast as we can. I mean, I think you mentioned, had record surpluses, and we've got a great conservative group up there, but they funded every rainy day fund, I think, to the maximum that they won't hold anymore. And so I think it's time we get rid of that grocery tax. We start looking at ways we could chip that. I think we're paying about 5% now, state income tax. And you're not talking about what Georgia and Mississippi do. It's not like they're cutting the whole percent out. They're taking 1/4% out. And I'm just saying, just have that heart that that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start to work on it. And we're going to look, and because not that I think Alabama's anything like Minnesota, but I saw even at the department bag, there is waste in government. And if you don't think that, you're just kidding yourself. I think we can find that money.
Nicole, do you support moving Alabama to a flat income tax rate of 3.99% or lower to better compete with our zero income tax neighbors like Florida and Tennessee?
I think it's something we definitely have to look at a little bit more and research. You have to be careful with completely changing a tax structure, that you make sure that you have, the income to be able to fund other elements of government without making a sweeping decision. I do think that there's opportunity as Lieutenant Governor to look more at state agencies and the government waste, and to cut out programs that shouldn't be there before we just go changing our tax structure. A lot of people, for example, they abuse their offices, they give jobs to their friends. You see a lot. My husband's in the legislature. We've learned a lot. I've learned a lot through him about how money is passed from one place to another. So before saying yes or no, I just have to look at that in more detail.
Wes, will you champion a taxpayer bill of rights that limits state spending growth to the combined rate of inflation and population growth?
Yeah, I think anytime that we can advocate where people keep more of their hard-earned money in their own pockets is a good thing. I'm on the record, as I stated earlier, about the things that we've been able to put the Secretary's office on track to do by the time I step out of office in January of 2027. But I'm also on the record to talk about the budget accountability and responsibility. It's an initiative that I've talked about last year as Lieutenant Governor that will empower our state employees to recognize the waste in their own agencies, just like we saw in the Secretary's office some wasteful spending. Who is better prepared than these individuals that work in these state agencies to recognize it? And if they bring forth ideas how to save money, and if that initiative gets passed through the Alabama legislature, then that state employee would be able to get a one-time bonus as an incentive to find more wasteful spending. I had a young lady in our office, a team member of ours, come to us early on in our time as Secretary of State and say, hey, this is an idea I think we can save some money on. So you know what we did? We went and wrote a piece of legislation. We got it passed. And now, we're being able to save some money and chipping away at those things inside our office. So it's not something that we have just talked about. It is something that we have advocated for during our time as Secretary of State. And as Lieutenant Governor, I think that we need to do, when I get in the role as Lieutenant Governor, it is something that I will champion to make sure we are cutting the red tape, we're cutting wasteful spending, and making sure we are keeping the administrative cost low and down so the small business people aren't having to deal with these burdensome rules.
Patrick,
Stephanie.
Alabama's Certificate of Need laws stifle competition in the area of healthcare, and they act as a government-sanctioned monopoly. Will you pledge to support the full repeal of con laws to allow the free market to work in healthcare?
Please restate your question. I apologize.
Sure. Alabama's Certificate of Need laws stifle competition and act as a government-sanctioned monopoly in the area of healthcare. Will you pledge to support the full repeal of those laws to allow the free market to lower healthcare costs?
Very common sense answer. I will work as Lieutenant Governor to do anything I can for the people. Medically, taxes, what have you. If it's going to benefit each and every Alabamian, I'm going to work for it. I'm going to fight for it. Regardless of who stands in my way, I'm going to fight for you, the people. Because that's what it's all about. You, the people, putting money in your pocket, not taking it out. I hope that answers your question.
Dean, conservatives have long resisted the expansion of Medicaid as a fiscally irresponsible growth of the welfare state. What market-based alternatives will you propose to increase rural healthcare access without increasing taxpayer dependency?
Yeah, we don't need to depend on the federal government for things. We don't need to depend on the state government for things. Simply, one of the things when it comes to healthcare and the rural problem with the rural hospitals closing is that there's these things now called OnMed, CareMed. There's these basically virtual pods that can be set up for relatively cheap and not having to build a hospital and staff a hospital that can take care of a lot of things. And we have one of these in Lafayette, not too far from Opelika, where I live. So those are some of the areas where we see like Auburn University is involved in that. And so you can get a lot of private funding, and a lot of people would be into that without having to raise taxes. And let me say, I am adamantly against raising taxes. If our state government has a surplus, that means they've taken too much of our money. And we need to find ways to get it back. Now, my colleague down here, when he got asked a question about taxes, he went to cutting wasteful spending, but he voted to raise the gas tax when he was in the legislature. So this is the thing that I'm talking about. I have conservative principles. I will never raise taxes because the conservative principle, the platform of the Alabama GOP is to lower taxes, not ever raise taxes. Now, yes, cutting spending in every area we can is good, but let's for instance, we've got a rural hospital crisis, right? Hospitals are closing. We've got these healthcare deserts. And yet our legislature voted to spend $400 million building a new state house, a new palace for themselves. This is the kind of crap that's got to stop. And it's not going to stop with career politicians. It's going to only stop when you start voting in regular Alabamians who are not playing the game and trying to climb the ladder. That's the only way it's going to stop. Principled, moral people, not double-tongued, rather, politicians.
He did not say by name, but Wes, you are the only one that's been in the legislature. So would you like to respond to your vote on the gas tax? 1 minute.
This is a serious position that we are all up here competing for, to ask you for your vote to be the next Republican Lieutenant Governor. I'm not going to respond to Mr. Odell's nonsense. I'm not going to respond to his nonsense because he lost all credibility when he stated that the earth is flat. Let the record reflect,
Okay.
and it is clear.
Oh, he said my
It is
name, so I
clear.
get I
It
get
is
a
clear.
minute, right? He said
It
my
is
name?
clear. The record is clear. The earth is round. Elections are secure inside the state of
Okay.
Alabama.
Would you like to respond to the gas tax?
Time out.
Raise it or not?
Hold on a
Raise the
second.
gas
Hold on a
tax or not?
second.
Yes or no?
The audience is here to experience this in silence. Thank you.
I
So
answered,
you-
I answered the question, Stephanie.
Okay, so you do not wish to respond.
I
Dean,
responded.
Oh, yes, I'll respond.
you have
I-
1 minute.
1 minute. I am a biblical flat earther, meaning I believe the Bible. This is what the Bible teaches. I'm a Hebrew cosmologist. That's what I believe. Now, Mr. Allen wants to bring into this my religious beliefs, and he claims to be a Christian. But the only problem here is I believe more of the Bible than he does. And, but that's not the issue today. See, he's doing this to deflect from the fact that he voted to raise your taxes. He doesn't want to address the actual thing that he did as a politician, as a career politician. And so I think you just need to take that into consideration. Article 6, paragraph 3 of the Constitution says there is no religious test for someone that's going to be in office. It's not about my religious beliefs, but it's about how you have been as a public official.
On that note, we're going to move on to the lightning round, which is perfect timing. It's supposed to be fun and a little lighthearted. And so hopefully everybody will smile and laugh a little bit. Really simple. Y'all each have a whiteboard. Hopefully you can see it, but we're just going to ask really simple. Some might even be a little silly. Just go with it. We like to see the human side of our potential lieutenant governors. So Stephanie, you want to start?
Okay, yeah, so just to be clear, everybody get your whiteboard out and your expo out. And so what we'll do is we'll ask one question of all of you at once. You'll have 30 seconds. Hopefully you'll know these answers. You'll have 30 seconds to write your answer. Largely, please. Last time we did this, we had a tiny writer that we were like, what does that say? Not huge, but largely so that the audience can see. And then when you're finished with your answer, turn your answer around so the audience may see your answer. Everybody clear, happy-ish? Okay, Amy Beth.
Are you a morning person?
Nicole.
Rick is really thinking.
Dang, Rick.
He's really writing.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought I got the whole 30.
You have 30 seconds.
Depends.
Yes,
Yes.
military, always, yes.
Okay.
military,
Okay,
yes.
this is my only regret so far this evening. We should have had our own too.
We really
Oh, are
should've.
we? No.
We'll do that next time.
Okay, wait, but Rick, yours said depends on the day?
Depends on what I'm doing that night.
Oh,
The night
depends on
before.
what you've done the night before.
Yeah, okay, that's
Honest.
He's honest.
Appreciate that.
okay. My turn. Cats or dogs?
What?
Cats or dogs?
What if you don't? What a fish? What?
Those are your only two options, Patrick. Dogs.
Trans dog. Okay, let me see.
Trans dogs.
Dogs. What you got? I can't see it. Dogs. Rick.
Ev-
You dogs. Y'all all
Everybody's
dogs.
dogs.
Uh-oh, Patrick.
Okay.
Patrick's a cat,
Cat,
that
dog.
swims.
Cat on a bicycle.
Cats are self-sufficient.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. You're up, Allison.
What is your favorite season?
Season or seasoning? Which?
Season.
Either one.
Seasoning is delicious.
I mean, you can
It's
go with
seasoned.
whatever you want.
All right, Dean, what are
Fall,
you? I
that's
can't
about
see.
right.
Fall.
Fall. Fall.
Really?
Thanksgiving.
A football. Patrick's writing a book.
Still spring. Wes is still on spring.
married, wife, and fall.
Fall.
So
So it goes with fall.
good husband saying fall.
Good. Okay.
Y'all ready?
Mountains or beach?
Okay, that's pretty funny. I just heard that one. Mountains.
Mountain,
Beach.
mountain, beach, one beach, two beach.
Really?
Okay, interesting.
Guys, let's see. Mountains, beach. Okay.
All right, listen closely to this one for my inflection. What is the worst food for you that you love anyway?
The worst food.
Honey buns.
My wife is really listening right now. You know
Hot
that.
dogs.
Cheetos, Little Debbie's. What is the worst food for you that you love anyway?
No cheating, Patrick.
I'm just looking at West. I'm like,
Fried catfish. Is that okra?
Sweet
Oh,
tart.
I didn't even know that existed.
Do you like the cherry or
Fast food?
the
Strawberry.
I like the strawberry.
Why do y'all know what that is? That's gross.
Who likes the
It's
cherry?
gross, but they're
No, they're
delicious.
good.
I'm the one with 7
Wait,
kids.
cake? What kind of cake?
Oh,
Honey buns.
I'm putting it on.
Stop.
Here.
I just
Cookie
threw that
cake.
out there, and you
Yeah.
actually like honey buns.
Yeah.
I like it. It's
Yeah.
funny.
like from the
just
gas station.
give me a gas
honey
station.
bun?
From the gas station.
Right.
Yeah.
The only one-
Okay.
Yeah,
Or the Hunt Brothers Pizza.
You're
from the
not
gas
fancy.
station.
Okay.
you're right.
Yeah.
That's real.
Were you
real.
cookie cake, Dean?
Cookie cake.
Cookie cake.
Patrick, what did you write down?
Fried catfish.
Fast food.
Fast food.
Fast food. Does it matter? Okay.
No fast food. I got to get back to my military shape.
Okay. All right.
All right. Is it me?
It's you.
Am I? Is it?
Mhm.
What's the name of your favorite podcast? You're gonna say Right Side Radio Replay?
I mean, no pressure, but both of us have podcasts.
It's fine. It's both. It's both of them.
Sean
Sean
Ryan.
I don't really listen to podcasts.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
I don't listen. Hey, Rick. I have a podcast and I don't even listen
That's
to podcasts.
also real.
I was gonna lie and say 18, 19 or something, so y'all would like me, but
No time. Oh, that's not a podcast.
No, it's not. I don't have time to watch podcasts.
Never heard of that.
Nope.
I don't.
None. No,
I don't
that's
have-
fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Musician who is most like you.
oh, good grief.
Musician who is most.
I don't know if I ever thought about
Should we
that.
just
Stumped
change
him.
it to like you like the most?
That's too hard. That's just.
Okay. Are we
know how
are
that
we
would
pat
answer
is this like Family Feud? We pass? Nope, we've got answers.
No.
Oh, or should we say what musician? Who would you like to be?
Okay. You can change the question.
Maybe you're not anything like them. Everybody's really stumped on this one.
All right.
Okay.
We'll pass. Up. I have no idea.
I don't even know who that is.
Brownsville Revival Worship.
Okay.
Wendell Cooley.
I'm gonna go with Otis.
Okay.
Otis. Yes, I see it, Rick.
I'm a child.
Mozart.
I'm a Motown guy.
Yeah. Rick is sitting on the dock of the bay. Yes, I see. I got you. Yes. Amadeus. I like
Amadeus.
it. Okay, I like it.
Those of us from the 80s remember this one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. See, it
That
took him a
was-
second, but
That was the
good.
anthem.
I'm picturing Wes with.
Okay, this one's easier. Pizza or tacos?
That made me hungry.
Tacos.
Taco. What would you?
Okay.
choose?
Everybody's tacos.
What would you choose?
Oh, I'm
I'd go
definitely
pizza.
tacos. I'm tacos.
Yeah, I'm pizza. Pizza. Fast food.
Depends on the
That's
day.
a fast food. She's setting me up. That's a fast food.
Fast food. Okay, well, the question is written is, have you ever done karaoke? So answer that and then tell us what you sung.
If the answer's yes.
If yes, don't make one up.
Have you ever done karaoke?
No.
All right, if you haven't, life's short. You should. Maybe
No,
next time we
no.
do this, we'll have a karaoke machine.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's Blaze of Glory.
Blaze of Glory.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Beastie
okay.
Boys.
She good.
That is unexpected.
What you got, Rick?
Okay.
Can't sing.
Can't sing.
Patches.
Patches by Clarence Carter. Y'all don't remember that?
I don't know that one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right.
That was it. That was it.
Nicole and Wes get to do a
Well, I
karaoke
leave
number
here,
next
let's go on
time.
the iPod. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
We missed an
that's
out.
hilarious.
What is your favorite sport?
Easy.
College,
You
really?
Right, War Eagle.
Even now with NIL?
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Football.
Okay.
Roll Tide.
It's unanimous.
All right,
Zero
go.
Roll Tiger.
Everybody said football.
Roll Tiger. I'm bipartisan.
All right.
I got kids. I don't know which way they're going. So
Okay. This is a yes or no question. Do you believe in luck?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Rick is a yes. Standing out. Are you a risk taker or a stay safer?
That's good. That's good, Sinclair.
Are you a risk taker or a stay safer?
I just made up the word stay safer.
Yeah, that's not
I
a real
felt like
word.
we probably should use that tomorrow.
Let's,
You know,
I mean, it,
Risk taker. Yep.
risk taker. Okay.
Yep.
I jump out of planes.
I jump out of planes. So
risk taker
Stay safer most of the
most
time.
of the time.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right. What's your all-time favorite TV show?
Oh, my goodness.
We only have 48 more questions. Don't worry. That's to make 5 seem less daunting. Andy Griffith.
Sweet.
That's good.
Jack Ryan. Fresh Prince.
Shark Tank. That's good.
Come on, Rick. Monday Night Football. Yeah,
Okay.
it's good. Oh, it's my turn. Okay. What trait do you value most in your friends?
We got Dean,
Yep,
loyalty.
Oh.
Patrick, honesty. Loyalty.
Very, very similar.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Well, somebody take note if you're friends. What is your dream job outside of being lieutenant governor? I was about to say you can't say you're doing it, but that's okay. You're doing it. You're a pastor.
He done did.
It's classified.
I mean, there's always a chance, Rick.
Like we can't talk
Current
about that
job.
government program.
not at this time.
Auburn football
Oh.
coach. I already live it.
Commissioner
Commissioner of college
I want
football.
to fix it.
If you could fix an
Broken.
IL, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Mm.
Okay.
that'd be great if you could.
If you were an animal, what kind would you be?
You knew that was coming. Nicole and Patrick have very similar answers.
Yeah, eagle,
I have to
tiger.
get everything back to Auburn.
Okay, next time we'll answer.
Dog.
No, if
Boyle.
anyone cares.
Okay.
Okay.
Good one. Good one.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay. If you had one, what was your nickname while you were growing up?
Classified.
You may not have had one, but if you did, what was it? Nicole.
That's
Nicole.
good. Ricky.
Ricky. That makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Coca-Cola.
Dean can't ride it.
I'm just going to say
No cursing,
no comment.
pastors.
Westerville.
Westerville.
Westervelt.
Oh, interesting.
Western.
No comment. Okay.
Okay. Well, now we got to find out. Somebody let us know.
Ask one of my kids, Siri or one of them, they'll tell you.
You're not answering?
The government gave me a security clearance. I'm good.
All right, only two more. Who is your favorite historical figure? MLK. Margaret Thatcher, MLK, Patrick Henry,
TJ, good ones.
TJ,
You know
my
her
bestie
friend.
TJ. That would be Thomas Jefferson.
George.
Washington.
Okay. All right. This is the last one. What song title best describes your life? That was a good one, Stephanie.
Dean, you've actually already answered this one. We did this.
I did, but I'm gonna give a different one.
Oh,
I think.
your life has changed.
Well, maybe. Nah, I'm gonna put it in.
It's funny
What
you're
song
I don't know
title
what you
would you
put.
What song title best describes your life? You know, like living on a prayer.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Now I remember that's what it was.
Believe for it.
Believe
CeCe
for it.
Winans.
Okay.
I don't even know what the song is.
Yeah,
but that
yeah,
is the
yeah,
title.
yeah.
Born to
That's
Run.
Born to
Born
Run.
to Run.
We won't make you sing it.
Oh, I don't know what it's about. I didn't know the title only.
I don't know.
All right, come on,
Who
guys.
sings it
Anybody else?
anyway? Do you know?
I don't.
Oh, I can sing it, but I'm not going.
Living on a
Oh, I
Prayer,
don't know.
Bon
Bruce
Jovi.
Springsteen.
Well-
It's Springsteen,
Bruce-
baby. I was born to run.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Living on a prayer.
Good job, singing.
Living on a prayer. That's a good one.
You know John Bon Jovi?
I was just
Yeah.
going with
I was
the
going to
standard.
write just another Manic Monday, but
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
one. I
that's
like
a good
that
one.
song.
Wait, what was it?
just another Manic Monday.
That
Oh,
song.
I remember
Was
that
that the
song,
Bengals?
Yeah. Do you remember
I,
that?
I have a lot of
was
useless
good.
knowledge in my brain. Okay, that is the end of the lightning round. See, wasn't that fun? So now we will have closing statements. How many? They're 2 minutes apiece for closing statements. And then we will wrap it up to adjourn. So Rick, you're up.
All right,
2
thank
minutes.
you. Obviously I'm here hoping you'll support my candidacy for Lieutenant Governor. I expect you to. I had some people tell me you need to do polling to want to know what people in Alabama think, but I literally have, if you follow me at all, I've met with 200,000 Alabamians over the last 7 years, been in every little bitty part of this state. And I said, I don't need to know. I know they want safe neighborhoods. We need to figure this healthcare thing out. It's getting completely out of control. They want decent, good schools. They need good paying jobs. And so why am I better than anybody else to be hired for this job called Lieutenant Governor? Because I really believe that business background changed me. And I realize how important infrastructure is to the state. It's not just I-65. I've been on it 4 times in the last, counting today, 4 straight days from Montgomery here. I know it's bad, but I-10, we need that bridge across there. 565 needs work. We got to have internet in rural Alabama to make it successful. I know that. And of course, I know there's not enough workers. You can go to Choctaw County and have a sawmill, and they can't find enough people there to work in that sawmill. Pretty good paying job. And of course, I dealt with it my whole life of running a business. And anyway, I guess I'm just asking you to consider, is that important to you to have somebody that's got that business background, that's seen the burden that government could. I'm just telling you, government is not the solution. Government is a problem, and I'm offering you to choose something different.
Nicole.
I'm Nicole Jones Wadsworth. I am pro-life. I am pro-faith. I am pro-Second Amendment. I'm a former board member of the Alabama Federation of Republican Women. I have served on numerous boards in the areas of business, philanthropy, and conservative causes. I volunteered for President Trump for all 3 of his campaigns, including 2 deployments to battleground states. When I was in Atlanta in 2026 with my husband, State Representative Tim Wadsworth, I knocked on 400 doors a day. I was top door knocker. If that's not boots on the ground, I don't know what is. We need a lieutenant governor who understands business, who's not tied down to political games or special interests, and who will work for you. Ultimately, we need a lieutenant governor who understands our economy, our community, business, quality of life, and diplomacy, and who can strategically plan in a fiscally responsible way, not only for today's Alabama, but for future generations. I'm Nicole Jones Wadsworth, and I would be honored to earn your vote on May 19th, because together we can build a better Alabama. Thank you.
I don't think there's anybody else, in my opinion, on the stage that has the conservative record that I've got. There's nobody else on this stage that has served in the courthouse that stood up and protected marriage back in 2015 as one man and one woman. There's no one else on this stage that served in the legislature that has taken on the transgender radical ideology. I was the one that introduced and sponsored and passed the bill to prohibit puberty blockers for minors, to prohibit the cross-sex hormones to minors, to prohibit sex change operations to minors. Back when it was not very popular, we were the 2nd state to pass that particular piece of legislation. We were the tip of the spear in Alabama. And to watch that go through the federal courts and be upheld, it is now law of the land in Alabama. We are protecting children in Alabama because I took up that fight when it was not popular. Also took up the fight to make sure we protected and fortified elections. I was the one that sponsored and passed the bill to ban curbside voting. I was the one that sponsored and passed the bill to prohibit Zuck bucks in our elections. And as moving to Secretary of State, to continue to fortify our elections through robust and regular voter file maintenance. That is where it all starts. That is the foundation of election integrity. And there's no one else in this contest that has the conservative record that's taken on the liberals and won. I go all over this state, and here's what I can tell you about the people of this state and the people of Alabama. They love their families. They love their family name. They love their churches. They love their communities. They love their civic groups. They love their history and they love their heritage. You've got to have somebody in there that is ready to step in and be a great teammate to Coach Tuberville and help him get his agenda passed. I'm Wes Allen, and I'm asking each and every one of you for your vote on May the 19th. Thank you.
Patrick.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's not about me. It's about you. It's 100% about you. Tonight you've heard from me, Pat Bishop, Major Pat Bishop, Reverend Pat Bishop, or just Pat, because titles don't matter. They shouldn't matter. There are people that do this for a title. That's not why I'm here. I prayed about this over 15 years ago. 15 years ago. I never vied for any other office. There are those who have run for political office throughout this country that probably want to go to another office of higher, but because someone else joined the race, they said, well, you know what? I'll just settle for this lower office. Since I have name recognition, I'll get it. Send a military person to Montgomery. Someone's going to fight for you. It's not about what you've done in politics, but what will you do? Will you fight for the people, or will you fight for your political career? As a military officer, I've been told many times, as a lieutenant, by general officers, learn to play the game or you'll never make general officer. I retired as a major for that reason. I don't play the game. I never have and I never will. When I sleep at night, I sleep peacefully elect me to help fix our issues with education, employment, and take care of our law enforcement. I fought for this country. I've taken lives for this country because I love this country. Let's fight the copy and paste politics. Hold me accountable. I demand you hold me accountable. Vote for me on May the 19th and November the 3rd. But be warned, my fellow Christians, my God is an awesome God. Don't let the donkeys nor the elephants let you forget that we all belong to the Lamb. May God bless you. Airborne.
Dean, go ahead.
Well, first of all, you should know that experience as a politician doesn't make you a good one. President Trump came in and has probably been the best president we've had since Ronald Reagan, and I think a better president than Ronald Reagan. Why? He wasn't a politician. He didn't come in to play the game. He came in to fix problems. He came in to be a disruptor, a wrecking ball. I think that's really the answer here in Alabama as well. We don't need people who play political games, raise your taxes, then say they're conservative. We don't need people who want to make a political debate a theological debate. We need people who are going to be leaders. And what leaders do is leaders look ahead and see the problems that are going to come down the road and prepare for them then. Leaders are people who are bold enough to stand against both the federal government, the media, even our own party at times. We have to take a stand for what's right and not just what's Republican. President Trump has done that. He has a whole group of Republicans that hate him, that fight against him. I am that type of person in Alabama. I am a true blue Republican, a true blue Bible-believing Christian. I have over 38 years of ministry, sermons, books that I've written that prove where I stand on every moral issue. I will never compromise what I believe to be the truth of God's word. I will never compromise the Constitution of the United States or the rule of law. We do have serious problems with our elections. We have serious problems with our education system. We have serious problems with our child protective services. These people that have been in power, been in offices in our state, have had opportunities to fix these things, and they fixed nothing. So if you want a Trump, if you want a disruptor who will understand the real issues that we're facing and fight them and never back down, even in the face of death threats or in the face of opposition from both Republican and Democrat, I will never compromise, and I will always be there to do what government is supposed to do: protect you, your health, your life, and your God-given freedom. So on May 19th, I think there is only one choice if you want a disruptor, and that is vote Dean Odle on May 19th for your next lieutenant governor. Thank you.
Okay, let's have a round of applause for all the candidates, please. I'd like to thank everybody, everybody who took the time to come out here tonight to listen to the candidates, and all of those who are watching on the live stream as well. We really feel like an informed electorate is the best possible electorate, and that is part of why we wanted to put this forum together. I did want to mention a couple of things. One, I wanted to also on behalf of these two ladies, thank Steve McClinton. He's a Hoover City Councilman, but also, I'm told, America's favorite city councilman. And so we'd like to thank Steve for the use of the room and being an all-around good guy. So we just really want to thank you, Steve, for all you do for the city of Hoover, and also for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight. Also, I just wanted to mention, just for a couple of minutes, you might have noticed above my right shoulder, it says Alabama Policy Action and not Alabama Policy Institute. And the reason for that is that Alabama Policy Institute is a 501c3 that's been around for almost 39 years. As you know, but we have started a 501c4 called Alabama Policy Action. And so this forum is specifically an Alabama Policy Action Initiative, but I wanted you to know the other things that we're working on as we move forward through the primary election and the general election this year. So on the Alabama Policy Institute website, there's a button that says Alabama Policy Action that takes you to a completely different website. And I just want you to know what's on there now and what will be on there as we move forward. So there is a Legislature 101 document that outlines how a bill becomes a law, outlines the Alabama legislative process, and it's kind of a tutorial for how to deal with the legislature. There's also a Lobbying 101 document where people can get advice from the age-old lobbyist sitting at the table here on how to actually interact in a positive way with your legislators and lawmakers. And then there are also opportunities to take action on specific issues. I mentioned, the affiliation with Alabama Policy Institute. There are 30 issues that API is working on this legislative session. Our staff reads and does an analysis of every single piece of legislation that is considered or even not considered, dropped or filed in the legislative process. And so we're working on those issues, but you have the opportunity to take action on those issues, also to sign and send petitions and information directly to your lawmakers. And then lastly, specifically with Alabama Policy Action, we are sending out questionnaires, much like the questions that these candidates received tonight, to every single qualified candidate on both sides of the aisle. And we'll be bringing those questionnaires in, publishing them, and then publishing them as voter guides. So a lot of times, on election day or when election day gets very close, I know many of you in the audience probably get these phone calls too from friends and family members who aren't as involved in the process as you are. They want to know who to vote for. They want to know what people stand for. And we want to be a place where people can find that easily so that people can make good decisions at the ballot box. So that's what we're trying to do with APA. We're also, with my fun friends here, I'm the non-fun one at the table, but we're also going to do a U.S. Senate forum in this same location, March 10th. If y'all want to come back for that, should be an entertaining night as well. So thank you all for coming and for being here and being an excellent audience. And thanks again to all of our candidates for being here. We really appreciate it.
You messed me up.